started with jokes, Instagram captions, a few slick comments in interviews. Nothing serious, at least not at first, but then the stories began to pile up. Allegations, lawsuits, headlines that grew darker by the month, and suddenly, the playful trolling from 50 Cent didn't look so playful anymore. This became something else. 50 Cent versus Sean Diddy Combs, two titans of hip-hop, two empires, two men linked by history, tragedy, success, and power, yet divided by distrust, competition, and decades of unanswered questions. And with Netflix having released Sean Combs, The Reckoning, a documentary filled with explosive allegations and public testimony, the tension, the commentary, and the cultural conversation surrounding Diddy exploded. For 50 Cent, this wasn't just beef. For Diddy, this wasn't just trolling. For the industry, this became a reckoning. Let's break down one of the most complicated, long-running, and culturally significant conflicts in hip-hop history. To understand this feud, you have to understand who these two men are and what they represent. Sean Diddy Combs was already a dominant figure in hip-hop by the time 50 Cent reached mainstream success. Born in Harlem, raised in Mount Vernon, Diddy built his name at Uptown Records before founding Bad Boy Entertainment in 1993. He wasn't just a music mogul, he became the mogul, producer, artist, fashion executive, entrepreneur. In the 90s and early 2000s, everything he touched seemed to turn into money. 50 Cent's rise happened differently. Born Curtis Jackson in Queens, 50 had a childhood marked by hardship, including the loss of his mother at a young age. His come up through the streets, the mixtape circuit, and his near-fatal 2000 shooting shaped his persona and hardened his perspective on trust, loyalty, and the industry. When he finally broke through in 2003 with Get Rich or Die Tryin', he didn't just become a superstar, he became a force of nature. Aggressive, witty, unfiltered, strategic. His brand was built on calling things how he saw them and never backing down from confrontation. But here's the thing. At first, they weren't enemies. They weren't exactly close, but there wasn't real tension yet. That would come later. Still, their paths were intertwined in ways neither could escape, and it started with something, or someone, larger than the both of them. Let's rewind to the late 1990s. 50 Cent entered the industry deeply aware of Bad Boy's history, including the tragedies connected to Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G. While 50 was not personally involved in those eras, he came up studying the chessboard that Diddy once controlled. He said publicly that he watched how labels treated artists, how money flowed, and who had real power. But there was something else too, something that would later fuel 50's suspicions and comments. Multiple documentaries, books, interviews, and public discussions over the years have explored the circumstances surrounding Biggie's murder and the aftermath at Bad Boy Records. 50 Cent, known for voicing what others only whispered, occasionally made comments questioning certain industry relationships and decisions from that era, though he never accused Diddy of wrongdoing. Instead, he often hinted at inconsistencies, contradictions, or behaviors he found questionable. In the early 2000s, their worlds bumped into each other more directly. 50 Cent was becoming one of the biggest stars on the planet, and he was fiercely protective of his team, G-Unit. This is where rumors of industry tension began. This is where different philosophies created natural distance. And as 50 Cent's star rose, so did his willingness to critique industry behaviors, including those connected to Diddy. One moment that fans point to is an interview where 50 voiced skepticism about rappers signing deals under Diddy, suggesting that artists under Bad Boy didn't always receive the best outcomes. Again, he didn't accuse Diddy of crime. He attacked business practices, contracts, and industry politics. From here, 50's pattern emerged. If he saw something in the industry he didn't like, he said it. If it involved Diddy, he definitely said it. But the real spark wouldn't come until years later, when the public narrative around Sean Combs began to shift dramatically. Before we jump forward, we need to explore the cultural layer beneath this feud, because that's what makes it so explosive. Diddy represents a powerful archetype in black entertainment, the mogul who made it all happen. He symbolizes the climb from Harlem to Forbes lists. He's the prototype of hip-hop wealth, lavish parties, and elite status. 50 Cent represents a different archetype, the street-hardened disruptor who refuses to bow to gatekeepers, who calls out hypocrisy, who confronts the powerful head-on. These two archetypes have collided throughout black entertainment history: the insider versus the outsider, the connector versus the disruptor, the diplomat versus the whistleblower. This cultural tension added gasoline to every comment 50 made, and every headline Diddy generated. By the late 2000s and early 2000s, their dynamic wasn't hostility. It was a cold distance built on different values. But everything changed when the allegations surrounding Sean Combs grew public, detailed, and legally documented. Throughout the 2010s, Sean Combs faced occasional civil cases and rumors online, most of which did not gain mainstream attention at the time. Many were dismissed or settled quietly. Still, the internet was beginning to shift. Meanwhile, 50 Cent continued to comment publicly on Diddy's behavior, sometimes humorous, sometimes serious. One thing about 50, he reads paperwork. He pays attention to filings, lawsuits, interviews, and industry patterns. So every time allegations surfaced, even those that were unproven, 50 would occasionally comment, usually through trolling, memes, or interviews hinting at concerns about Diddy's behavior or business practices. Everything remained mostly surface level, until the floodgates opened in 2023. November 2023. When Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against Sean Combs, alleging sexual assault, physical abuse, trafficking, and coercion, the industry reacted with shock. Diddy denied all allegations, but the lawsuit was settled within 24 hours. That settlement didn't confirm wrongdoing, but it fueled public speculation and caused other alleged victims to step forward in the following months. By the end of 2023 and early 2024, multiple civil lawsuits were filed against Diddy. Every single one was treated as an allegation, not a conviction, but the number and severity caused a seismic reaction. This was the moment 50 Cent shifted from trolling to active commentary. He began posting memes, articles, and reactions to each lawsuit as it hit the press. His tone changed from playful criticism of Diddy's business persona to openly mocking and condemning the alleged behavior described in the lawsuits. And then came March 2024, when federal agents executed a search warrant on Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami as part of an ongoing federal investigation. The footage went viral instantly. 50 Cent reacted in real time, posting memes, posting commentary, posting jokes so sharp they trended for days. To many fans, this was classic 50 Cent. But to others, especially those following the lawsuits closely, it felt like 50 wasn't just clowning. It felt like he'd been waiting years for the industry to start asking the questions he'd been hinting at. Still, it would be the documentary that changed everything. There's another dimension to this rivalry that the public sometimes overlooks: money and business strategy. Diddy's career was built on entertainment mogulship. Bad Boy Records, Sean John, Revolt, real estate branding deals. He cultivated elite networks: fashion, tech, Hollywood, politics, business. 50 Cent's empire took a totally different route. G-Unit Records, G-Unit Films, his power as an executive producer, the Power Universe energy drink companies, boxing promotion, spirits brands, Branson, Le Chemin du Roi. These empires did not overlap, but they existed in parallel. And whenever they did brush against each other, 50 often made subtle jabs at Diddy's business moves or public persona. This economic contrast also fed into the rivalry. Diddy liked being the mogul. 50 built himself into another mogul, one who didn't need Diddy's network. 50's rise in television, Power, BMF, Raising Kanan, Force, Ghost, made him one of the most influential producers in black entertainment. Diddy, once the center of hip-hop culture, no longer had the same cultural command. When Sean Combs' The Reckoning released on Netflix, the internet ignited with one of the most intense reactions the hip-hop world had seen in years. The documentary features interviews with multiple accusers, former associates, journalists, and industry insiders. It lays out allegations, past lawsuits, reported patterns of behavior, and testimonies from individuals who describe experiences that shocked viewers worldwide. Throughout the documentary, Diddy's legal team denies wrongdoing on his behalf. He maintains his innocence. For many viewers, the documentary confirmed their fears. For others, it raised more questions. For industry veterans, it shifted the conversation from whispers to national headlines. And for 50 Cent, it validated years of skepticism he had publicly expressed. The release of The Reckoning didn't just reignite an old feud, it escalated it into something far bigger. A public referendum on power, protection, and accountability in the entertainment industry. This is why people are invested. This is why the story won't go away. So what do you think? Is 50 Cent simply calling out behavior he's been suspicious of for years? Or is he taking the rivalry too far? And has the release of Sean Combs' The Reckoning changed your view of one of hip-hop's most powerful moguls? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this QuickNewzCutz deep dive into one of hip-hop's most complex and controversial feuds, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Until next time, be safe.